Football fans, Gooners, welcome to another edition of the Positively Uncensored Arsenal podcast. As usual, I'm your host, Shotta, and on the other side, my expert, my friend, our friend, Blackburn George of the Positively Arsenal blog. George, morning after losing, shockingly, to Brighton Hove Albion. The shock is not just us, George. You could see our fans streaming out of the stadium after 2 goals. The second goal was scored. And the punch to the gut, the last punch to the coup de grace was a third goal. It was a deflating experience. And today, I am resorting to what is online. Was this a bottle job by Arsenal or not? George, your feelings, your immediate post-game reaction.
Well, it's a good day if you're a pessimist and you like wallowing in misery. But I thought, looking at the game itself, we played very, very poorly. I mean, Brighton are getting all the plaudits, but Jesus. I think it was 10 or 15 minutes in, we were on 26% possession at home. I mean, that's just unacceptable. And we were sitting off, we weren't pressing properly, and we couldn't keep the ball when we got it. The passing was awful. We didn't even try to pass out from the back. What happened to that fucking staple of our game? You know, just lofting, and every time we got possession, what did? We just lumped it up the field to nobody, just for a bit of breathing space. It was absolutely horrendous, and it's certainly the worst we've played this season. I'm sure we played just as badly last season, but this was a return to the bad old days. It's a worry because we have fallen off a cliff. You know, there's no getting away from it. Draw when we're 2-0 up at Liverpool. 2-0 up at West Ham. Yeah. Managed to fucking get a draw with Bournemouth, being 2-0 down. And
not Bournemouth, Southampton.
Who's now been relegated.
Jesus Christ, yeah, officially.
City thrashers. And now these have thrashed us. I mean, it's worrying to say the least.
And in between, we tore Chelsea apart. A really Chelsea that is really
and we had a good result against Newcastle,
but especially against Newcastle.
Yeah,
and we sang the praises of Jorginho and Xhaka. But George, this was, as you say, night and day. Well, you didn't say it, but I'm saying it.
It was. But I think we got the setup wrong. We got the tactics wrong. And everything was wrong. The personnel, maybe. I don't know what else he could have done, though. I'm not going to be overcritical of his team selection. What else could he have done?
George, I know you're wondering, and I want to tell the audience, I thought about that too. Before I bring the stats up, George, just the overall game stats, I thought about that too. You know, I want the audience to say, when I watched the match, first of all, I have not watched Brighton. Watch them vicariously, but not that closely. And just before the game, the commentators and the pundits saying, "Oh, they play so differently." And yes, they hold on to the ball, playing out from the back. They hold on to the ball until the very last moment. If you remember something Wenger said years ago, we try to fool the other team to come forward. And this is exactly what a lot of teams are doing, trying to fool the other team to come forward, that they're under pressure. And then once that team has committed itself and is out of shape, you can then get the ball forward. But what they basically do is lump the ball forward to either Caicedo or Estupidan. I was thinking that was a lot of fun when he was in school. uh, it reminded me of how Manchester City played us. Put that extra man in midfield to take the ball off the defender. Well, they had better technical players. Swing it on either flanks or up the middle. And we were at sea, George. And it just, I was just saying, how could Brighton Hove Albion, a team that is fit, I don't, well, maybe there are two people. Well, we have our minds in for Caicedo, but how many of them could make our team? And just it amazed me.
Well, on yesterday's showing, a few of them could make our team, and I think that's the problem, that we've elevated some of our players to a level that they're not. You know, they elevated Thomas Partey, didn't they? He was the best defensive midfielder in the league, according to a lot of Arsenal fans 2 months ago. And he's reverted to being pretty dire, really. Saka, goodness knows what's happened to him.
Whoa, yeah.
I said last week he should have been off at half time, and I didn't see much difference this week. And
yeah, he was. As the match wore on, he got more and more ineffective.
And Jesus, I mean, do you know what? What makes me laugh is you go on Twitter and you'll see all these people saying, "Oh, the injury to Saliba, that was what did it." Look at the points that we've won since he got injured compared to the points we won. Yeah, okay. Well, you can equally say, since Jesus come back, look at the points we've lost.
The draws
we were doing before he came back in the team. You know, I'm not saying it's either, but a bit of both. It's not. Surely you can't say that an injury to one central defender changes the dynamic totally. And if it does, then why didn't we have cover for that central defender? And if he's that good, why the fuck was he not playing for us last season?
Right.
He wasn't good enough to play for us last season. Now apparently fucking team's built around him. It's a nonsense, really. And but there's so much that was horrible yesterday. Tierney's passing was pretty poor, and even though he was stuck in the left back position, we didn't have that overload in midfield because Zinchenko, who gives you technical solidity in midfield,
that might not be defensive, but
they can look to him
as
the first option to get out and beat a press. He wasn't there, and I know he's weak defensively, but I think the team defensively is stronger with him in it, if that makes sense at all. Individually, he's not very good defensively, but his position, the way he plays, gives you a solidity defensively, because the best defense is having the ball.
Exactly.
Score when you've got the ball. And we were just nonsense yesterday. And the substitutions by Arteta, for me, possibly the worst two substitutions in the history of football. Taking Xhaka and Jorginho off instead of changing the fucking system. Put another body in midfield.
Yes, we were being overrun, George, and I.
That was it. It wasn't that they were, but Jorginho, right at the early doors, I was watching, I was thinking, he's trying to get us playing. He's trying to fucking pass the ball and keep the ball. And he was on his own doing it. Yeah, he got the blame. You know, he had a bad game. Well, did he have a bad game? Or did he just fucking totally ineffective? Because every time he passed the ball to somebody else, they lost it. So the midfield looked shocking. Martin Odegaard, 72% fucking pass success. That's horrible. For a technician, for somebody who's supposed to be a technician in the centre of midfield.
What's happened to George? George is so overcome. He just
sorry about that.
He
That,
left you.
the plug had come out of my laptop. It was
Yeah,
about to
yes.
go off. I'm running on the battery.
Oh,
Uh,
I thought it was your rant.
no. So, what was he up to? Martin Odegaard.
George, I have
Jesus.
some figures.
Jesus. Let's talk about him for a minute.
Okay.
Fucking hell, he does my fucking tree in. Right, he did some stuff yesterday. For 5 or 6 seconds, you think, fucking hell, that's good. You know, he's trying to dribble past to us, and then it all comes to absolutely fuck all.
You remember the ball he took out of the ear? I think it was somewhere in the second half, and then came inside. It was, my commentators, Peter Drury and Lee, they were drooling and they lost it.
Yeah, but it comes to nothing. And for me, we should have put another body in midfield and just played with 2 up top instead of taking the only 2 people who could actually control the midfield, who is Xhaka and Jorginho, off. I mean, what the fuck, man? And who are you bringing on to replace fucking Nelson? And dropping Trossard in at that stage. Trossard for Xhaka. Please, it was horrible substitutions.
Well, I mean, and Trossard didn't make a difference, George. I mean, he got a shot off that by the way, that grazed the bar. And I'm not going to take it away from him. Everybody just said a magnificent substitution. But don't forget, for goal number 3, he turned the ball over.
Goal number 2.
The goal number 2. The goal number 2.
That put us out of it.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if some people are blaming Ramsdale for the kick, but come on, Trossard is a Premier League player. There's a way in which you control the ball with your body between you and the man. It just bounced off him like a brick wall.
No, he tried to play it around the corner. Which was that deep. He's not used to playing that deep. You can do that in the opposition's fucking box, but not in your own. And he was playing like a striker, doing defensive duties, and that never works. I'm not blaming Trossard at all.
No, but I'm saying
what I'm saying is replacing Xhaka with him and Jorginho with fucking Nelson. What the?
That was weakening the midfield, George. I have some stats here about the midfield performance, and it's gonna suggest that we had ineffective players, but we had 3 people. In fact, what it's gonna show is that Jorginho and Xhaka was not the problem. There was somebody else who was the problem, which you have mentioned. And let me just tell you. Let me share with you. I know you have this, so audience, give me a break. Let me get rid of the banner. And we're going to look at this together. And maybe you will learn something, because a lot of football is a lot of chat by people with an agenda. And obviously, all of us have our favorites. But overall, look at this. Martin Odegaard, and this is coming from who scored. George, can you see that? I tried to highlight it, even if so that people's eyes can be drawn to it. Martin Odegaard had a 5.95. I mean, and as you said, his passing was 72.4%. Compare that with the other 2 central, let's call them central midfielders. You make your point. And at the end, come on, let's go.
We got a 3-man midfield when really we need 4 in. Just Janko makes up the thing. So you're already at a disadvantage, and then Odegaard's giving it away. What, 3 out of every 10 get?
3 out of every 10 balls, correct.
Jorginho, like I say, he was trying to get us playing.
Exactly. Look at his passing percentage.
Yeah,
passing accuracy.
Was it 84? It's a bit
86.
small.
86, George. 86.
So, I mean, that's not bad, given that we were under the cosh all the game, and he was being pressed all the game because other people weren't really doing their jobs. So he wasn't the problem, but we hiked in. And and he's getting the blame with Xhaka. It's not right. The culprits were
Gabriel Jesus, 53.9%.
Gabriel Jesus, Martin Odegaard,
Yes.
and probably Saka. I can't even see what is.
Let's go all the way down the line to Bukayo, 76.9%.
Yeah, there you go. That's not good enough either.
Yes.
So
Two
the
shots.
wrong people were substituted. It didn't change the shape when it was clearly not working. I can't understand it. He's saying that we set up like that because it worked when we played away at Brighton. We weren't playing away at Brighton. We were playing at fucking home.
Correct.
We're Arsenal. We're playing at home and we're playing to fucking defend and hit them on the fucking break. When we've got to where we are in the league, or we got to where we were in the league, by retaining the ball, pressing high, and I just don't understand it. It's beyond me. It's like there is no excuse for it. It was rank bad management. I'm not going back to my rant on how useless Arteta was before and how many mistakes he's made, because we've been sensational for most of the season, and the improvement is clear.
Yes,
he has done a good job, but he got it so wrong yesterday, and everybody makes excuses. It's everything else. It's Saliba. It's fucking Zinchenko being missing. It's fucking tiredness. By Saka, he's tired. Fucking been playing one game a week for months. One game a fucking week. How can he be tired? He's not fucking tired. He's just gone off. Just accept it. He's not fucking playing as well as he was. The golden boy, as they call him. It's
he's like he and Martin Odegaard can't come off until the 80th or 80th minute. By the way, George, just to make your point about Zinchenko versus Tierney. Tierney had a passing accuracy of 69.2, less than 70%. I mean, that tells you we lost the technical security of Zinchenko.
Of course, but he wasn't. To be fair to Tierney, he probably didn't have that many touches anyway, because he wasn't moving into midfield, and clearly he wasn't moving into midfield because he wasn't asked to move into midfield, because we've seen him do that job before, and he clearly was told to hold his fucking position. We were going to play a flat back four. Ben White was fucking traumatized all the game. I felt sorry. I thought we were going to have to come off and go to hospital for a nervous breakdown. They skinned him time after time after time. But he's a golden boy as well. You can't criticize him. So
yes, George. The Japanese fellow, and first I saw him, George Mitoma. I mean, you're correct. When you mentioned Tierney, I'm thinking about their left back on the other side. He tormented, as you said, Ben White. He made Ben White look like what he is, a central defender. He's playing out that position.
And then they swapped over, didn't they? The
Mitoma fellow occasionally.
He swapped over, and the other fellow skinned Ben White.
Esposito and the.
They were both having him for breakfast. It was fucking. I felt sorry for him. He was fucking. I mean, he couldn't do a thing right, and again, he reverted to lumping the ball and when they have it in defence. I mean, how many long balls did we just lump up to Jesus? And I'll tell you what now, I can't remember him ever fucking winning a ball and holding on to it when the ball's lumped up to him. I can't remember it happening once, not just yesterday, since he's been here. What's the point of fucking hitting the ball up at him when he can't keep it? It was horrible. And I'm not blaming him. He's 5'9". It's not his game. So why ask him to play like it is his fucking game? He's not Giroud.
Yes. Right. The much maligned Giroud. And George, when you mentioned that, Danny came on for them. and he was like, he was like, like we could use him. We could use his height. We could use his technical ability. I mean, Danny tormented us just like he did when United beat us 8-2. I didn't even remember that Danny scored that day when Danny has been, but Danny was like fresh like a daisy. Granted, he was coming off the bench, and my thought was, shit, we could use Danny here today.
Yeah.
Football is a funny game.
Well, like I say, some of the players have had good seasons, and Arteta's done well. And, we're second. We would have fucking ripped our arms off for second before the season started. But we've absolutely fucking collapsed. We've fucking completely collapsed under the pressure. The cups were a fucking embarrassment. That said, we drew Manchester City away in one of them. There you go. That's not, you can excuse that one. But we lost to Brighton in the other one twice. We've lost to them at home then, and then we lost in the Europa League. Dreadful performance. So we've done a shocking cup season. Although, like I say, if you draw Manchester City in the early rounds, away, you can be excused for not winning that. And we actually played quite well in that game. But the season as a whole has been highs and now it's lows. But generally, it's more than acceptable because we've finished second with 3 games to go, basically.
Yeah, that's why there are mixed feelings around, and the super optimist, the Fox up. Well, I guess they call Fox optimist because, guys, George, my perspective on Twitter and social media, and you and I have been there. You more than me because you were before Twitter fucked up your account. You used to have a massive following. But basically, Twitter is, you take one of the extremes. Either you're a super pessimist or you're a super optimist, and you build your reputation about that. So I understand that, and I don't want to get too, overly religious about this.
Yeah,
super optimists are saying that, this is, we are beyond the schedule. Oh, he took us to 8 points prior to the game against Liverpool, and you shouldn't criticize him. That doesn't seem reasonable to me.
Well, it's not reasonable, but as you've just said, I did have a massive Twitter account, and that was built on super optimism.
That's on the back of my mind, right?
When I was backing Arsene Wenger,
100%.
So I was very much at the extreme.
Yes. But that's the point I'm making. We know how that game is played. You and I know how that game is played. If you try to come down the middle and to be, reasonable, nobody pays your mind on Twitter. You know what I mean?
Like my new account. It doesn't matter how many new followers I get. I lose at least as many every time.
Yes.
I try.
Maybe it's your views on religion. Anyway, George, but keep going.
Yeah, but I think all in all, it's been a more than satisfactory season. I'm not as optimistic as all these people said. Oh, we'll be stronger next year and we'll win it next year. We won't win it next year. All the other teams, Manchester United, Manchester, Chelsea, Spurs, will all be.
Yeah.
Liverpool, maybe even, will be much stronger. And we'll have to wait to see how it goes. I mean, people are talking to me like, we've got 250 million to spend in the transfer market. Well, have we? Where the fuck's that coming from? We're running at a loss. The club's running at a loss. And I saw 250 million to spend in the transfer market. What fucking world are these people living in?
I would want to be a fly on the wall when Josh and his dad discuss the state of affairs.
Well, people say, you have to spend. You have to speculate to accumulate, is what people.
Yeah. I've heard that
And
shit all
my
the time.
reply is always 9 out of 10 companies that speculate to accumulate go bankrupt.
Exactly, George. We
You
saw
know,
it with the financial crisis. You remember they were doing that,
that's
telling
not
us
the
that
way
shit.
to grow. That's not the way to grow.
You remember they were telling us that shit when Wenger moved into the Emirates and he had to, cut salaries and, cut expenses and get rid of the best players. They said he had to speculate to accumulate. And they had a massive financial crisis in 2008. And all those big institutions in both the States and England collapsed. And you both said, yeah, right, speculate to accumulate. And he was like, I am not going to let the club go bust.
Especially when you want to speculate with somebody else's fucking money.
Money, right.
Hey, Stan, give us another 250 million. We'll be better this year. And he looks back and he goes, oh, I've already spent 500 million. When can I turn this tap off and I see some money back?
Right.
And where's that money coming from? I don't see it myself.
Well, Newcastle's going to spend.
Newcastle, yeah. Newcastle's going to spend. Chelsea's going to spend. Manchester City's going to spend. I don't think Spurs will spend that much because they haven't got a pot to piss in either at the moment. Yeah. Liverpool spend a bit, but they won't spend massively. Well, I don't care about them. I'm saying, where's our money going to come from? Where's this 250 million going to come from? That these people think how often we heard this? He's a war chest or this. Arsene Wenger used to get a war chest every season of about 150 million. And he ended up spending 10 because he wasn't actually getting that war chest at all. It was all just bollocks. And for me, this is bollocks as well. I'm not saying we couldn't do with spending 250 million. That'd be nice. But
that'd be nice if we could get somebody like Caicedo straight down midfield. I can see what all the noise is all about. George,
but as my hero
go ahead. I'm sorry, George, I interrupted you. Say that again.
As my hero would say, curb your enthusiasm.
Yes.
Larry David's my hero because he's the grumpiest twat in the world.
Yeah.
But
if wishes were horses, all beggars would ride. And the thing with I think we shouldn't go without mentioning that the first goal should have been ruled out by them. The boy, is it McAllister? He did whatever. The Brighton player took out Kiwor, and he was in no position to defend the ball.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. That was a foul. It should have been blown as a foul, and then they got a huge. He fucking kicked it and almost did an Ozil bounce over the top of the defenders, and it landed to
the sharpest player on the field,
5'3" player, and it was stuck for some reason between two towering defenders, but it just fell out the sky onto his head. That was lucky.
But we have had all luck too, George, and that is why you have to be careful when you start.
You can't complain. They outplayed us, and I think they outplayed us because we played badly. I think we're capable of playing far better than that and far better than them. That's the point. Not far better than we did. We were capable of playing far better than they did. And we were just a shadow of what we've been most of the season. And you have to wonder why. Why? But you can't point the finger at Ben White. You can't point the finger at fucking Odegaard, Jesus, Mikel Arteta. God forbid anybody should blame him for anything these days. But Saka, you can't point the finger at him. But the finger should be being pointed at these because they were the problem. And not who obviously typically gets blamed. I mean, fucking hell, if Rob Holding had played, it would have been him, wouldn't it?
Oh, God. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He would have been his fault for getting his ankle rolled.
Yeah, well, I felt something for him. I mean, you have people on the... I listened to Martin Keown this morning saying, he shouldn't have gone down. He should have stayed on his feet. Fucking, he took his boot off, stomping right down his Achilles. It's not that's instinctive that you go down.
Right. Yeah. And guy's hand was on him. Like all the defenders, that their hands are on you. They just just not to obviously push shove you and get a penalty, but their hands are on you as well. They're helping you though. George, I don't know where we're going from here. I mean, it's the title is in cities, isn't obviously cities.
This year, next year, and the year after.
Yeah,
they're a different class. It's a one-horse race.
The tore apart Everton. I watched it. Everton got until the first goal, and that was it. Why don't, if Pep is so in love with us, why does he sell us? I said this on Twitter. Why does he sell us the aging Gundogan?
Yeah, give us. You don't have to sell him. He's out of contract.
Right.
I don't think they'll let him go personally.
No,
I think they'll offer him some money and he'll stay. But
we'll give him a year.
So they'll lose him. Well, they'll just go and buy somebody else, or they'll move Phil Foden into midfield, and he'll be a fucking revelation. Because he'll be able to keep the ball and score goals just like Gundogan does. Yes. The different class. They really fucking. I mean, this steamroller in fucking teams, including us when we play them.
Yeah. We
really are the whipping boys, aren't we? I mean, it's like they just have to turn up to beat us, don't they?
Well, by the way, George, one of the things I noticed is that you make the observations long before everybody, and I notice everybody is now saying on Twitter, can we play Manchester United ball with inferior players and win? I've seen a number of people now, and it's now, leaching into the mainstream media. And you were talking about Peanut Head there, he from Burnley. What's his name?
Sean Dyche.
No. The new coach.
Vincent Kompany.
Yeah, Kompany. I call him Peanut. He was in you spoke about how they play exactly like Manchester City, and it came to my mind when I saw Kompany. He was in the director's box yesterday. Anyway, guys, I got to run. George, I've got to run. But bottle jobber or not, somebody bottled it. We bottled it. I don't, that's my theme. Somebody bottled.
Well, something went wrong more than William Saliba getting injured. It's just
exactly. Yeah,
that's pathetic. It really is pathetic.
And I think the other point you make: do not imagine that we're going to automatically get better next year.
No, don't. Because what if Xhaka leaves?
Which is possible. Yeah. All right, George. I'm that somewhat pessimistic. Yeah. We've got to go. Well, guys, if you like the George's and my ramblings and speculations, give us a like and a subscribe. Thank you very much, George. We'll be in touch.
See you soon.
Bye.